The first signal. The galaxy was calm, as it had been for centuries. Trade ships moved from one world to another. Alien empires argued in their councils, but nothing truly disturbed the peace. That calm ended on a night when the stars themselves seemed to whisper. In a monitoring station on the edge of the Zarnak Empire, a young alien technician stared at his screen. He had been half asleep, bored of reading the usual cargo signals, but suddenly a sound echoed through the speakers. A pulse, strong and sharp, not like anything he had ever heard before. His four eyes widened as the signal repeated again, louder this time. "Commander," he called with a shaking voice. "There is something strange. I think it's a war beacon." The commander, an old-scaled alien, walked over slowly. He expected nothing unusual, probably just a glitch. But when he leaned over the console and heard it himself, his face turned pale. "This is not a glitch," the commander muttered. "This is a call to arms, a human signal." The room froze. Every alien in the station looked at him with disbelief. Humans? Those primitives from a small blue planet? The galaxy had heard of them, but no one took them seriously. They were said to be new to space, weak, and still divided among themselves. One officer laughed nervously. "Humans cannot even control their own world, Commander. How can they send a signal across the stars?" But the commander's eyes remained fixed on the repeating pulse. His instincts told him the truth. He had studied many civilizations. He had seen empires rise and fall, and he knew at once this was no ordinary species. News of the strange signal spread quickly. Within hours, it reached the Galactic Council. Powerful leaders gathered in the Grand Hall, their robes shimmering with pride. Many dismissed the matter immediately. "It is just noise. Humans are nothing," said one counselor. Another added with laughter, "If they dare to come, we will crush them before their ships even leave orbit." But not everyone was so calm. A silent fear spread among the older races. Whispers moved through the shadows of the hall. What if this is real? What if humans have built warships? The idea was almost unthinkable. Yet the signal continued, repeating again and again as if daring the galaxy to ignore it. On a lonely moon far from the council's chambers, an alien admiral stood on his command bridge. He looked up at the dark sky and felt a deep unease. He remembered the old archives, ancient reports about humans, stories of wars that lasted for centuries on Earth, stories of soldiers who fought until their last breath, stories of fire that consumed cities. Yet humanity always rose again. What kind of ships would such a species build? He whispered to himself. No one had the answer, but soon the galaxy would find out. 3 nights later, the first human warship arrived. It did not come quietly. It tore through the darkness of space, its engines screaming like thunder. It appeared near the Zarnak border where the signal had been first detected. Alien patrol ships moved to intercept, confident in their numbers. But when they approached, they froze. The human warship was massive. Its shape was sharp and brutal, built not for beauty but for survival. Dark steel armor covered its body, scars from weapons already burned across its hull. This was not a ship designed to impress. It was a ship designed to kill. The aliens had never seen anything like it. For a moment, silence filled the comms. Then the human warship sent a simple message, a voice deep and steady, carrying across the void. "We are here," it said. Just those 3 words. The galaxy trembled. Back in the council chambers, panic broke out. The younger leaders shouted for war, destroy them before they spread. The older ones sat in silence, remembering history. One counselor finally whispered, "They have come before we were ready." Another corrected him, "No, they have come because they were always ready." The first signal had become a warning. The galaxy thought humans were weak, but their warship had arrived, and it carried the weight of a species forged in endless struggle. The stars would never be the same again. The trembling sky. The galaxy was restless. The signal had already shaken the empires. But when the human warship appeared, everything changed. The stars themselves seemed to tremble as its shadow spread across the void on the border of the Zarnak Empire. Fleets were deployed quickly. Dozens of alien ships surrounded the unknown human vessel. They expected fear, they expected surrender. Instead, the human ship remained still, waiting in silence. It did not move to retreat. It did not raise white flags. It just stood there, as if daring anyone to fire first. The alien commander, Lord Vexar, sneered from his golden flagship. His ship was a masterpiece of alien design, sleek, shining, filled with pride. He looked at the rough human vessel on his screen and laughed. Ugly, broken, and scarred, that is what humans send us. Pathetic, he said. But deep inside, he felt something he could not admit. Fear. The Zarnak fleet moved closer, their weapons glowing. Then the sky itself trembled. Another human warship appeared, bigger than the first, then another, and another, until 5 human warships filled the void, each one different but all carrying the same brutal design, machines built only for survival and war. The aliens whispered among themselves, "This cannot be true. They cannot have built so many. They are primitives, they should not even have warp drives." Yet the evidence floated before them. The humans were not only here, they were ready. The younger alien soldiers in the fleet grew nervous. They had fought many battles before. But these ships radiated something different. They were not polished with gold. They were not covered in jewels or ceremonial markings. They looked like predators that had crawled through fire and survived. In the Galactic Council, news of the second and third sightings caused chaos. Leaders shouted at each other. Some demanded immediate war. Others begged for caution. One elder raised his voice. "Do you not see? These ships are not for show. They are built from a history of blood. Every scar on their hull tells us they have fought each other for thousands of years." The hall went quiet for a moment, because they all knew what that meant. If humanity had survived countless wars against itself, what would it do against outsiders? Back at the border, Lord Vexar gave the order, "Fire! Show these humans their place!" The alien fleet released a wave of energy blasts. The void lit up with fire. For a moment, it looked as if the humans would be destroyed, but then, something shocking happened. The blast struck the steel hulls and vanished. The human armor absorbed the damage like a wall of stone. Not even one ship broke formation. Panic spread through the alien crews. How is this possible? They should be dust. But the humans finally moved. Their warships turned slowly like giants waking from sleep, and then they fired. The first blast from the human cannons tore through 2 alien ships instantly. One explosion followed another. The void burned red as alien vessels broke apart. The humans did not shout. They did not mock. They destroyed with cold, calculated precision. Every shot was direct. Every move was brutal. The sky trembled not with noise, but with fear. From the safety of his flagship, Lord Vexar watched in horror. His golden ship shook as another blast cut through his fleet. How can they fight like this?" he cried. His crew offered no answer. Because the truth was simple, humans fought as if they had done this 1,000 times before. In less than an hour, half the Zarnak fleet was gone. The human ships did not chase the survivors. They simply stood still again, their weapons silent. It was as if they were saying, "We could finish you, but we choose not to." This time, the survivors limped back to their empire carrying stories of terror. Whispers spread faster than any fleet. Humans are not weak. Humans are not afraid. They fight like demons. They fight like they are born for war. On alien worlds, citizens stared at the broadcasts with wide eyes. Some laughed nervously, some cried in silence, and some whispered words no one thought they would ever say. Perhaps the age of aliens ruling the stars is ending. Perhaps the age of humans has begun. That night, the galaxy did not sleep. Every empire, every race, every leader thought of the same thing. The trembling sky was only the beginning, and the humans had only shown a small taste of what was to come. The first clash, the galaxy thought the humans would stop after their show of power, but humans never came this far just to stop. The first encounter at the Zarnak border had shaken every empire, and yet many leaders still believed the humans would bow once true fleets arrived. So they gathered one of the largest fleets the galaxy had ever seen. Hundreds of ships from different empires, Zarnak, Orathi, Belkin, and more. They all wanted to prove a point, that no primitive human could stand against the combined might of the stars. In the council, voices of arrogance rose again. They are clever, yes, but they are still small, said one alien ruler. We will burn their ships and take their planet as a trophy, said another. Only the oldest members of the council remained silent. They had seen enough history to know arrogance was dangerous. Far from the council, in the cold darkness near a red sun, the fleets gathered, filling the void with glittering hulls. Their formation was beautiful, rows of golden cruisers, sleek destroyers, and mighty dreadnoughts. They believed beauty was equal to power, but hidden in the shadows of that same star, the humans waited. Captain Elias Ward stood on the bridge of the human flagship Iron Resolve. He was calm, his eyes fixed on the massive alien armada. His crew felt the tension, but they also felt his strength. Are we outnumbered? One officer asked. Yes, Ward said with a slight smile. But numbers never won a war. Will wins wars. The aliens made the first move. A swarm of smaller ships rushed forward, energy beams lighting up the darkness. Their goal was to test the human defenses. But humans had prepared for this. Their warships moved like wolves among sheep. They unleashed rail cannons and missile swarms. Each shot tore apart alien ships as if they were paper. The alien commanders were stunned. Impossible! Their targeting is too fast, too precise. But it was true. Humans had spent centuries fighting wars where a single mistake meant death. They had perfected not elegance, but efficiency. The aliens tried to push harder, sending in their dreadnoughts. Each one was massive, covered in gold, armor built to show power. But the humans were not impressed. Ward gave the order, concentrate fire. All human ships turned as one. Their cannons roared, and in a storm of fire, the first dreadnought fell. Its golden armor shattered like glass, its body breaking apart into the void. For the first time, the galaxy witnessed something it had never seen before. Aliens who once believed they ruled all were forced into retreat. The humans did not chase wildly, they hunted with cold patience. Every move was calculated, every strike was lethal on. One alien ship, a young pilot screamed, "They are not soldiers, they are killers." His commander slapped him and shouted back, "No, they are survivors, and survivors are the most dangerous of all." The battle raged for hours. Alien fleets tried every formation they knew, circle traps, spear thrusts, wave attacks. But nothing worked. The humans broke through every tactic with brutal creativity. One moment they fought with direct fire, the next they rammed their armored hulls straight into enemy lines, sacrificing parts of their ships if it meant breaking the enemies. Hart, Admiral Korvek of the Velkin Empire, watched in horror. His empire had never lost a battle in centuries, yet in one clash with humans, he saw more destruction than he ever imagined. He whispered, "They fight like they have nothing to lose." And that is the scariest enemy of all. By the end of the day, space was filled with burning alien wreckage, hundreds of ships reduced to broken pieces. The humans had lost some vessels too, but their losses were far fewer than the empires had expected, and those that survived carried scars proudly. Each burn mark, each shattered plate of armor was proof of endurance. Captain Ward stood tall on his bridge. He looked at the silent void, now littered with ruins. "Send the message," he ordered. A comm officer opened the channel across all frequencies. The human voice carried through every alien receiver. "We will not surrender. We will not kneel. This is only the beginning." The galaxy listened, silent and trembling. For the first time, they realized the truth. Humans were not guests in space. They were conquerors. And the first clash was only a warning of what was yet to come. Secrets of Earth. Steel, the wreckage of the first clash, still drifted in the void. Burning hulks of alien ships floated silently. Their golden armor cracked open. Their pride shattered across the galaxy. News spread like wildfire. And with it came a question whispered in fear. How did humans build such warships? On the homeworld of the Orathi Empire, scientists gathered around glowing screens. They studied the battle recordings, frame by frame. One scientist tapped his claw nervously. "This is not possible," he hissed. "Their ships should not survive. Blasts of this size, yet they not only survived, they fought back with power far beyond expectation." Another researcher, older and wiser, leaned closer. "Look carefully," he said. "Their ships are not made like ours. We design for beauty, for status, for ceremony. They build for one purpose: endurance." He was right. Human warships. Were not shining jewels of the stars. They were dark, heavy, scarred machines. Every plate of armor looked hammered by fire. Every weapon looked worn from endless use, but they kept working like soldiers who carried their scars with pride. In the Galactic Council, fear turned into arguments. Some shouted for more fleets, others demanded spies to uncover human secrets. "Find out how they build these monsters," cried one leader. "Find out what fuels their endless weapons," shouted another. So the Empire sent spies, silent agents who slipped into human-controlled space. They expected to find hidden wonders, magical metals, rare fuels, forbidden alien tech, but what they found was far more terrifying. On a hidden human shipyard orbiting a dead moon, the spies watched in silence. There were no ceremonies, no songs, no rituals of pride. Only humans in steel suits, welding, hammering, burning. The sound of metal against metal filled the air. Each plate was dragged by hand. Each weapon was tested again and again until it broke, then rebuilt stronger. One spy whispered in disbelief. "They do not build ships for show, they build ships as if their lives depend on it." The second spy answered, his voice shaking. "Maybe that is because it always has. Maybe this is what war does when it never ends," and the truth unfolded. Human history was nothing like the peaceful records of alien empires. While aliens argued in councils, humans fought wars among themselves for thousands of years. They burned cities, they toppled nations, they built weapons not to display but to survive. And in that endless cycle of destruction, they perfected the art of war. Captain Elias Ward knew this well. As he walked the deck of the Iron Resolve, he touched the scarred walls with pride. Every scratch was a story. Every burn mark was a lesson. His ship was not young. It had fought before and it would fight again. "Steel remembers," he whispered. "And our steel will teach the galaxy what survival means." Meanwhile, the alien empires began to understand. Reports flooded the council halls. Human armor is layered with alloys designed under pressure of countless wars. Their weapons are simple yet devastating. Mass drivers, missiles, plasma shells. They waste nothing. Every broken part is reforged, every mistake is improved. It horrified them, because their own ships, though beautiful, were fragile. They were made for power displays, parades, intimidation. But against human steel, they were like glass against stone. On one alien world, a child asked her father, "Why are we afraid of humans?" The father sighed and looked up at the stars. "Because they are what we could never be," he said. "They are fire made flesh, and their ships are their armor." Back in human space, more warships rolled out of the shipyards, each one born from sweat, from blood, from stubborn will. The humans did not cheer loudly. They did not boast to the stars. They simply prepared, because they knew war was not a game. War was survival, and survival was their oldest teacher. When alien scouts reported the growing human fleet, their leaders trembled. "They are multiplying too fast," one whispered. "If we wait longer, they will be unstoppable." But another voice answered, "No, they already are." The secrets of Earth steel had been revealed. It was not magic, not alien tech, not luck. It was pain, history, and determination. It was the spirit of a species that refused to die. And now, that spirit had taken shape in warships that would shake the galaxy. The Council tried to ignore it. They tried to tell themselves humans could still be crushed. But deep down, in the silence of their hearts, they knew the truth. The humans had built more than ships. They had built a promise of war without end. And the galaxy would soon learn the cost of defying it. The unstoppable push, The galaxy had seen the first signal. It had seen the trembling sky. It had witnessed the first clash, and it had learned the secrets of Earth steel, but nothing could prepare the empires for what came next. The human fleet began to move, and when humans moved, they never stopped. Captain Elias Ward stood on the bridge of the Iron Resolve. Around him floated a dozen more human warships, scarred, heavy, but ready for war. "Plot the course," Ward said calmly, "deeper into their space." No one questioned him, because every crew member knew one truth. Humans were not here to visit. They were here to stay. The first push began at the border colonies, small alien worlds protected by weak fleets. The aliens expected the humans to demand tribute, to take slaves to loot resources, but the humans did something far stranger. They struck the fleets with brutal speed, crushed the defenses in hours, and then left the civilians untouched. The humans did not want weak worlds. They wanted the strong ones. They wanted the beating heart of the empires. The galaxy panicked. News traveled faster than ships. Every broadcast carried the same words. "The humans are coming." Alien citizens looked to their skies in fear. Some prayed to their gods. Some cursed their leaders for arrogance, and some began to whisper a forbidden thought. Maybe surrender is safer than resistance. The push continued. System after system fell, alien fleets gathered to block the path, but each time the humans tore through them like fire through dry wood. Their tactics were unpredictable. Sometimes they attacked head-on with overwhelming firepower. Other times they used silence, appearing from shadows, striking once and vanishing before the enemy could respond. Admiral Korvek of the Velkin watched the reports in horror. "They don't fight like us," he said. "They don't care about ceremony, about rules, about honor." His second-in-command whispered, "They only care about winning." And that was true. Every battle the humans fought was not about pride. It was about survival. And in survival, humans were unmatched. In one sector, an alien commander thought he was clever. He set a trap with 50 ships hiding in asteroid fields. When the humans arrived, he sprang the ambush. Energy blasts lit up the void. But the humans did not scatter. They charged directly into the fire. Their armor screamed, their hulls burned, but they pushed forward without fear. Within minutes, the ambushers were destroyed. The commander's last words before his ship exploded were bitter. "They don't care if they die. How do you fight something like that?" Back on alien homeworlds, fear turned into division. Some leaders shouted for unity against the humans. Others begged for peace talks. But the humans gave no answers. Their ships spoke for them. Every battle won, every fleet crushed, was a clear message to the galaxy. Resistance is useless. Captain Ward kept his fleet moving. His crew often asked him why they did not stop to rest. He only gave the same answer. "If we stop, they will regroup. If we keep moving, they will break." And he was right. The galaxy was breaking. Not just in ships, but in spirit. In marketplaces across alien cities, whispers spread. Children asked their parents, "Are the humans monsters?" The parents had no answer, because deep down they feared the humans were something worse. They were survivors who had learned how to turn survival into domination. Soon, alien worlds began to surrender before the humans even arrived. Governors sent messages begging for mercy. "Do not burn us, we will kneel," they said. The humans often ignored them, not because they wanted cruelty, but because they wanted to show they did not need mercy to win. Victory was already in their hands. In the Galactic Council, chaos exploded. Reports of lost fleets piled high. One leader slammed his fist on the table. "If we do not unite now, they will take everything." But another leader whispered the truth. "They already have." And still the human push did not stop. From border colonies to core systems, from minor fleets to mighty dreadnoughts, nothing slowed their advance. Every victory made them stronger. Every defeat made the galaxy weaker. By the time the first human fleet reached the central trade routes, the galaxy was trembling not just from fear, but from realization. The humans were not unstoppable because of their numbers. They were unstoppable because of their will, a will forged in fire, a will that refused to break, a will that now stretched across the stars. The unstoppable push had begun, and the galaxy finally understood. The humans were not just another species. They were the storm, and no empire could hide from the storm forever. Fear across the stars. The human fleet kept moving. World after world fell. Fleets that once called themselves invincible were reduced to wreckage. The unstoppable push was no longer just a campaign. It was a storm sweeping across the galaxy. But battles were not the only weapons. Fear was spreading faster than missiles. It seeped into alien homes, into council chambers, into the very hearts of empires. The humans were not only winning wars, they were winning minds. On the planet Zur, a merchant closed his shop early. He had heard whispers from travelers. "Humans are coming," they said. He looked at the stars above and trembled. He had never seen a human, but he felt their shadow. He locked his doors not because of thieves, but because of a fear that had no face. In the Velkin Empire, soldiers trained harder than ever. Their commanders shouted, "You will not fear humans. They are flesh and blood like us." But when the drills ended and the soldiers sat alone, they whispered the truth. They fight like they are not afraid to die. How do we fight that? In the great hall of the Galactic Council, panic boiled like fire. Leaders shouted at one another, "Form a grand alliance." No, sue for peace before it's too late. We must build bigger fleets. But even as they argued, they all knew the truth. No number of ships could erase the scars of defeat already burned into their empires. One elder stood and silenced the room with his frail voice. "You do not understand. Humans do not frighten us because of their weapons. They frighten us because of their history. A species that survived countless wars with itself now turns its gaze outward, and we are the ones in their path." The chamber fell silent. No one had an answer, because deep down, they all knew it was true. On alien streets, statues of past heroes were defaced by fearful citizens. Old songs of victory were replaced by whispered prayers. Children played games where one child pretended to be a human warship, and the others ran screaming. What once was pride had turned into dread. In secret rooms, some leaders met without permission from the council. A governor from the Arathi Empire whispered, "We should surrender now, before the humans arrive." Another leader slammed his fist. "Do you want to bow to primitives?" The governor answered softly, "I want to live." Meanwhile, aboard the Iron Resolve, Captain Elias Ward watched the stars in silence. His officers reported alien worlds surrendering before the fleet even arrived. Ward did not smile. He did not celebrate. He simply nodded. "This is what fear does," he said. "Sometimes it fights for us more than our cannons." And he was right. Fear had become humanity's strongest weapon. Fleets refused to launch, worlds refused to resist. Entire sectors collapsed without a single shot fired. But not everyone bowed. Some alien leaders burned with anger. On the planet Zarnak Prime, Lord Vexar, whose fleet had once been shattered, gathered what remained of his forces. He swore before his people, "I will show the galaxy that humans can be defeated." Yet his voice shook, and his soldiers heard the fear behind his words. Far away, alien scholars studied recordings of human warships. They tried to find weakness. One scholar whispered as he replayed the battles. "They have weaknesses. Their ships burn. Their men bleed, but they never stop. They never break. That is their strength, and that is what terrifies us most." The fear reached even the farthest colonies. Planets that had never seen war now dreamed of human fleets arriving. In the night, priests claimed humans were punishment sent by the gods. Poets wrote verses about the children of Earthfire. Even criminals whispered in dark alleys, "Steal what you want now, before the humans take it all." Back in the council, a desperate idea was raised. "Summon the ancient fleets," one leader said. "Awaken the old weapons we swore never to use." But another leader shook his head. "If humans have taught us anything, it is that weapons are nothing without will. And their will is stronger than ours." As human fleets pushed deeper, the galaxy bent like a tree in a storm. Some branches snapped in defiance, others bent low to survive, but none could escape the wind, and the wind was human. Fear was no longer a whisper, it was a voice echoing through every world. It was the shadow in every dream. The humans had become more than enemies. They had become the nightmare of the stars, and the galaxy could not wake up. The last warning. The galaxy was trembling not from weapons, not from fire, but from the fear that had spread like a disease. Entire empires bent under the shadow of humanity, yet there were still those who refused to accept defeat. In the heart of the galaxy, the largest fleet in history was built. Ships from a dozen empires gathered together. Golden dreadnoughts, sharp cruisers, fleets of destroyers. More than 1,000 vessels filled the void. Their leaders told their people, "This will be the day the humans fall." The alien commanders stood tall in their council chamber aboard the flagship Eternal Glory. Lord Vexar himself returned, scarred from his past defeat. His voice thundered, "We will not fear primitives any longer. Today the galaxy takes back its honor." The soldiers cheered, but in their eyes doubt still burned because they knew what was coming. Far away, the human fleet prepared. On the Iron Resolve, Captain Elias Ward received the reports. The aliens had gathered everything they had, an ocean of ships waiting to crush them. His officers looked at him in silence. One finally asked, "Captain, do we retreat?" Ward shook his head slowly. "We came this far not to run but to finish." The fleets met in the black void near a dying star. The alien armada stretched as far as the eye could see. Their ships glittered like jewels. It was a sight meant to terrify. But the humans were not terrified. They had seen worse, on their own world. They had seen cities burn, skies fall, oceans turn red with war. This was just another battlefield. The aliens struck first. Thousands of beams cut across the darkness. The void became fire. It seemed no ship could survive such power, but the humans pushed forward. Their armor burned, their hulls cracked. Yet not one vessel turned away. Their return fire was brutal. Rail cannons screamed, missiles tore through shields one by one, alien ships shattered. On the Eternal Glory, Lord Vexar roared in disbelief. "They are outnumbered 10-1. Why do they not break?" An old commander whispered. "Because they have broken too many times before, and each time they rose again stronger." The battle raged for hours. Alien fleets fought with desperation, but every formation they tried was crushed. Every tactic was answered with brutal human creativity. The humans fought like predators who had tasted blood. Every strike was meant to kill. Every sacrifice was accepted. Even when a human ship exploded, its wreckage was turned into a weapon, crashing into enemy lines, taking more alien vessels with it. The galaxy had never seen such ruthless efficiency. At last, the alien fleet began to break. Ships scattered, commanders screamed for retreat, but humanity gave no mercy this time. They pressed forward until the void was filled with wreckage. The proud golden ships of the empires burned like candles in the dark. When silence finally fell, the humans stood victorious, their fleet scarred but unbroken. The Iron Resolve broadcast a message across every channel. The voice of Captain Ward carried through the stars, deep, steady, undeniable. "We did not come to bow. We did not come to kneel. We came to survive. And now we are here to stay. This is our last warning. Stand against us, and you will fall. Stand beside us, and you may endure." The message spread across every world. Citizens stopped in the streets to listen. Leaders froze in their halls. Children repeated the words in whispers. The galaxy had been given a choice, and it understood the cost of choosing wrong. On the bridge of the Iron Resolve, Ward stood silent. His crew looked at him with awe. They had done the impossible. They had shown the galaxy what humanity truly was. Not weak, not primitive, not fragile, but survivors, fighters, conquerors, forged in fire and steel. Across the stars, empires bowed their heads, some in hatred, some in fear, some in reluctant respect, because no matter what they felt, they knew the truth. The age of aliens ruling the stars had ended. The age of humanity had begun. The void was quiet, again. But it was no longer the same galaxy. It was a galaxy that trembled under one name, a name that would echo through history: Earth.